It's time for the big show with Andy Gallo and Country Jim.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Andy Gallo.
And I'm Country Jim.
I want to welcome everybody to the podcast and our special guest, A.V. Mittelstedt, who A.V. had Soundmaster Studio there on, what was it, Jensen Drive, right, in Houston?
Yes.
For many, many years. But there was a slew of people that came through your door. Do you remember who all you recorded in that studio?
I can't remember them all. George Strait, Clint Black, Tracy Bird, Mark Chestnut.
I think he's dropping a few names there. What do you?
Yeah, I don't know.
I've heard of those.
Man.
You know, most everybody I got hot there for a while, and most everybody in Texas and Nashville would come in for me to record. Mm-hmm. So,
Of course, Randy Corner, I think, did a lot of
Randy
stuff there.
Corner,
Yeah.
Frenchie Burke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Wow.
we had a ton of them.
Man.
Yeah.
When,
Clay
when,
Walker, we did him.
Really?
Too.
Wow.
So,
when did you first open Soundmasters?
don't get me on numbers. I don't know. About 70.
A long time ago.
71. I don't know.
Okay. Wow.
60s.
60s.
See, they're down to saying 60s. How about that?
Wow.
I lose track of time, and I don't keep track of it.
Hey, join the crowd of thousands, believe me.
Yeah.
We sat here, Jamie and I, we sat here all the time thinking about, well, wait a minute, when was that? You know? Oh, it was yesterday.
So were you all? You're also renowned as a guitar player. I don't know about singer. Did you ever do much singing?
Well, I sing backup some in the studio, and Randy Corner and I decided I wanted to sing harmony on this one particular song that he recorded, and he squinched his nose up at me, you know. So when we finished, I pushed myself into the role, you know, and I had this one part I wanted to hear on this particular harmony piece of the song, and after that, I got his approval, and we became the Jensenaires.
Oh, Never
And we did a lot of tracks for different studios around Texas and in the Houston area.
Man.
I heard through the rumor mill that that you had when he started out as maybe even a preteen, that you had helped him learn to play guitar.
Yes, yeah. He was my guitar student, and I was third in line. He started with some lady who I don't know, and then Billy Paris came in and was teaching him, and Billy was going to move to California. Oh, he was going to go on the road with Jack Green. So he passed Randy on to me, and he said, "This boy's a good one, so you take note, you know." Yeah. And sure enough, boy,
He was a good one, that's for sure.
he was a good one, and
Man, I tell you.
he passed me up in a hurry.
Wow.
Well, you know what I know less about than that is, your journey learning to play guitar, and maybe I don't know anything about whether your folks played or where you were born, or can you talk about some of that a little bit?
I was born in Houston on Baden Street over in the north side, and my brother played steel guitar, and we were given lessons when we were like 4 or 5 or 6, I don't know, and we played the steel guitar together. But he was born to be a mechanic, and I wanted to be Elvis, so that was about the time that Elvis started that I really got started on the guitar. And
Could you wiggle your hips like Elvis? Or
I don't
did you
think
try
so.
that?
And when I was playing, I usually sit in the chair, and they thought I was dead, other than my hands would move, you know. But well, Dick Allen got me into the business. He and I went to high school together.
The Dick Allen and the River Road Boys?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So he called me up one day, and he said, "A.V., come out and play lead for me." I said, "I just got a guitar. I don't even know the chords, you know." He said, "Well, come on out anyway." So I've been out there and playing like Chuck Berry for a long time. Wow. So Jim Dick Allen got me started, really, you might say.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, maybe 15 or 20 years ago, I was playing a club down in Houston called Blancos quite a bit, and there were other bands that were playing that pretty regularly too. And you were in that, was it called Good, Bad, and the Ugly or something
Yes,
like that?
Good, Bad, and Ugly was my band, and we've been together for probably 50-plus years, and that's unheard of for bands, you know. But they were just wonderful people, and when I called a song, nobody balked or anything. They just did it, you know, and that's the way we worked. And we went to London, England. We were playing the Texas Tumbleweed Circuit, and we went to London, England to represent the state of Texas. And that was 3 times, yes. And that was quite a treat, you know, the Good, Bad, and Ugly in England playing. Give me a break.
Right. So, what made you, or what was the key factor that had you open up the studio?
Well, it was already open. Joel Johnson had opened it, and his brother came in later, and Joel got in the bar business. So he did well for himself, by the way, and I guess it was kind of dropped on me like a lot of other things. I was teaching guitar in the mornings. No, I was working at Soundmasters in the mornings. I'd go teach guitar in the afternoon, and then I'd go play at night. That was my schedule. And this was like 6 or 7 nights a week. So,
wow, that is an amazing studio that you had there. So when did you move to Huntsville? When did that all happen?
Let's see. It's been about 6, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years. Okay.
Okay.
It's been 9 years we moved.
And you're still recording people today, right? In
Yeah.
Huntsville?
The COVID thing slowed us down considerable, you know, but we're still at it. So
Very good. Very good. Yeah.
if you want to do a session, come on by.
I might just do it.
Yeah, I think say Jim would. Only
Yeah.
thing I can play is the radio. So and as somebody said once before, and occasionally I get off frequency. So I have to be careful there. So, but anyway.
Well, talk about a little bit of an obscure factor here. I've known about you for a long, long time, and the only thing I've heard you called is AV. Now, me, I've probably got a half a dozen names. He's already called me Jamie a couple of times, and that's a kind of a family thing.
I was adopted, though. That's
Yeah. But there was a famous Christian writer who was known as C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis, just a famous name. And the reason why they always called him C.S., I think his real name was Clive Stapleton. So if that was your name, you would be known as C.S. But his close friends called him Jack.
right. Yep.
So I'm intrigued, but I've never known you as anything other than AV. Is that
Okay,
what
Randy-
your mama called you that, or?
Well, that was always my name. My brother's name was Harold Lee, and that's what they called him, AV and Harold Lee. So that's how that came about.
Right. Yeah.
And he was, as I say, born to be a mechanic, and I was born to do music, so.
Now, did you say your mom and daddy played, or
No,
nope? Didn't. Okay.
not at all. They both could sing well, like in church, or sing the parts, harmony parts or whatever, but playing an instrument, no.
Who were some guitar players that you really enjoyed listening to?
Well, I was a Chet Atkins fan for a while, and I learned to do 50 of his songs.
Wow.
And,
So you could do a little chicken picking.
well,
that three-finger style kind of thing?
Is that what was it called?
well, it was you used a thumb pick, and your fingers.
Okay.
Yeah. And Chet was the master.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He was the smoothest guitar player I've ever known. And one story about Randy, we got him on ABC Dot. If we're talking about Randy Corner. And he was due to do a show for ABC Dot in Nashville. And he said, A.V., I got up there, and on the third note, I broke a string, and Chet Atkins was sitting on the first row. And there's not much you can do with a guitar when a string just says thwing and it's gone.
You just got to play around it, I guess. Is that what you do? I don't know.
That's all he could do. He said Chet got up and walked away.
Wow.
He went on out, but he wasn't afraid to play. Randy was not afraid to play for anybody. Mm-hmm.
So where do you think the success of Soundmasters came from? Like you said, all the artists that you named, was that...
We had actually started with Frenchie Burke. Mm-hmm. And Randy Corner and Robbie Springfield, they were all in his band. Mm-hmm. And, of course, there's more guys in the band, of course, which I can't name them all. But I told Frenchie, you ought to come by and record. He said, when? So he was there promptly, and had his band there. And we cut Big Mamu, which was a big hit.
Oh, yeah. Good song.
And I took it to the club where he was playing. I can't recall the name of it, but I took the record over there, and Art Shancy was there. He's a famous jock, and he said, give me that damn record, boy. And this was on a Friday, and he burned it. He played it every third song, I bet you, during that weekend, and Bruce Nelson calls me, and he is avid, where's my damn record, Normally you're down there begging them to play it, but this was a hit, Mm-hmm. And Bruce never forgave me for that, and I said, Bruce, I didn't do it on purpose, Yeah.
That was good. So that was just kind of the beginning, and then,
then
everybody, from then on out, everybody was like, well, we need to record
and then Randy
there.
Corner was in that band, and he came in and had a song called Sometimes I Talk in My Sleep.
Oh, yeah.
And we cut that, and it was a giant. It couldn't be stopped at all. Mm-hmm. And from that point, we got him. We were on Music Creek Records at the time, and we stepped up to, what was the label?
Welcome to My World.
What
Say it
was
again?
he? Was he on ABC?
ABC Dot.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
That's
okay.
what it was. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
What was the song he did that I really liked too, about telephone ring or something like that?
Yeah.
Did you record that?
Yes, indeed. I record all the songs that Randy did.
So y'all recorded them there, and then while he was on ABC Dot, you recorded
Well,
them.
yeah, and we're still recording in Houston. Yes, yes, indeed.
Wow.
And with Frenchie, we had him on 20th Century. And
I still actually have that album, believe it or not, vinyl, the 20th Century.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, and it was
French
album.
Big Mamu and all the stuff, all the good stuff.
It was album of the year on
Yeah.
20th Century. That's funny. I was riding
Yeah.
in Nashville, riding down the road, and they were talking about the Nashville sound and all that. And here comes Frenchie Burke playing the Cotton Eye Joe.
And it was recorded in Houston, Texas.
Exactly.
Did you keep up with him any through the years after? Now when Randy Corner, he played as a teenager for a while with Gene Watson, but when you're talking about would be like a few years after his Gene Watson.
Yes. Yeah.
He would have been in his early 20s or something.
Yeah, he was a youngster, and I would get him out of grade school to come record,
Oh, wow.
play the guitar, and that's kind of how he learned his way around the studio, Yeah. So, what was your question, Jim?
See, you forgot what my question was, but the problem is I forgot what it was.
What was your question?
That's what you call getting old.
It's just two old guys trying to.
I won't tell you, buddy. I sometimes, the older I get, I just can't remember nothing, So
Believe it or not, you're the youngster in this trio.
I am the youngster, aren't I?
I remember I was teaching guitar, and And Gene Watson called me on the phone. He had a club, and he was playing across town. And he was panicking. He said, I need a guitar player tonight. I said, well, I got a good one here, but he's real young, but he can play. So the next day, he gave Randy the job. And the next day, Gene called and says, "You're right. He can play." And he was in the Gene Watson band for quite some time.
I think Randy was. I don't know. His picking was just.
It
was fast. I mean, he was so fast, and he was all up and down that neck. I mean,
he's what you call a natural.
I guess so. Yeah.
You couldn't back him up in a corner because he plays way right out of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Tony Booth, who actually was on the podcast a week or so ago, when he recorded at Heart of Texas in Brady, he brought Randy up there to do the guitar part on the Tony Booth projects.
Yeah, a lot of people used Randy, around the state. And some in Nashville, he would go there and play. But he's an incredible guitar player.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, you weren't chopped liver either, my brother.
Well, I had to work at it. He was a natural.
Yeah.
So I got to where I could play jazz pretty good, which is a bunch of scales put together, And I got to thinking, hell, I don't even like this stuff. So I kind of...
That's a good musician, right? You don't have to like what you play. You just play it.
Everybody thought I was great because I could play these scales 90 to nothing, but that wasn't my cup of tea, And from that point, I forgot what came first. As I say, I wanted to be Elvis, and I wanted to be Chuck Berry, and I could play every one of his songs verbatim, So that's kind of how I got started. And am I getting you all mixed up?
You got it, man. You got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question. You don't have to answer this, but how old are you?
I'm 83. I'll be 84 next week.
Wow.
Yes.
You don't look it. So I was just kind of wondering there. Yeah.
Thank you.
So
me and the deer would like you on that deal. I feed them about 15 deer every morning.
Oh, really?
Yes. And when they get them big horns between your legs, you think, we're not going to hurt one another, are we?
That's kind of scary. That's kind of scary.
One of my favorite artists, believe it or not, because I'm really known as being in roots country, is John Prine, who was a folk singer and songwriter. Yeah. And they were interviewing him one time on a podcast kind of thing like this, and they said, well, John, you're not only known as a great singer and songwriter, but you're also known as a stylist on the guitar. And he put his tongue in his cheek and said, well, I think that's because I keep making the same mistakes over and over again.
I think you're right on that one.
Hey, speaking of writing songs, did you write?
I wrote, yeah.
Anything we might know?
The only one is, what was the Randy Corner song?
Randy's a melody, sweet memory.
Sweet. Well, I wrote that, but that wasn't one of Randy's songs. But anyway, I wrote one of Randy's songs.
Okay.
And I can't recall the title right now, but I will.
Yeah. When
you have a stroke, a lot of things leave.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You're doing good, though. You're doing real good.
So, A.V., I guess Good, Bad, and the Ugly is not going to be performing anymore. A.V., I think we ought to give a little bit of credit to the fine band members that you had there with Good, Bad, and Ugly. I knew Ed Fontenot, the bass player. Did you have a fiddle player? And
his name was Steve Snow.
He's played the Red Brick Tavern Sunday Gospel Brunch with me several times.
Yeah, and he's a natural.
Yes, he is.
He's another one that you can't back up in the corner because he's going to fiddle his way out of it, So
that's right.
I like
and
it.
Roddy Bohr was the drummer, and he passed away here last year or year before. And Tommy Crone started with the band, and he was the first drummer that we had. I mean, he was so funny, and he had an infectious laugh. If you ever hear him on a CD, you'll know who Tommy Crone is, right?
And AV, you guys, Moses Rangel, when he came back from Nashville, used you guys to back him up too, right?
Yeah, well, he would front for us sometime, you know. And Ed was the natural front man, and the boys, all my guys they were natural at what they did. And we did a CD, 3 CDs in the studio, and we made like the crowd was there, but there was no one out there. But you cannot tell there's no one out there at all.
Yeah.
It's an incredible
that's
bunch I had, you know.
Yeah.
That's a fascinating kind of recording. I know Hank Thompson. I think those live at the Dallas Fair recordings by Hank Thompson, I don't think they were live at the Dallas Fair. I think that was a studio production.
I believe
thing.
so too. Yeah.
Well, ours was straight up. And on the first 2, we didn't even overdub. We just did them straight up.
Wow.
We cut about 25 songs in one night. I said, guys, if we can play them every night, we can surely play them in the studio, you know.
And that's not done a whole lot. Well, back then, I guess that wasn't done that much either, right?
No.
As far as just playing, just everybody together and, not playing,
Yeah, bluegrass was done a whole lot because they just all got in a
Yeah. And a lot of
You know, pile
times
and-
they used one microphone and
one
that was
mic,
it,
and if they didn't want it to get louder, they just scooted in
Right. Yeah.
more. And
They need an engineer.
Yeah.
They were their engineer,
They were their own engineer,
Yeah.
exactly, and
Yep.
so were we.
Mm-hmm.
We just turned it on and let it go, and I would count it off, and we played it the same way every night. So, what the heck?
Yeah. Man,
We can always play it again.
Yeah.
But we didn't do double taking. We didn't do that.
Right.
We just played it, and out of the 25, we would pick 10 to 15 songs to go with. You know, the ones we thought were flawless. You know, and.
Wow.
So, man, it was a lot of fun, you know.
Right.
And not many people do that anymore at all. They're not capable of it, you know. And we can sing harmony to anything, you know. If you can whistle it, we can sing harmony to it or whistle harmony to it, you know.
Could whistle in C? Is that what they used to say? Can you whistle in C? Well, sure. Why not? So,
Yeah.
Well, AV, it's been a real pleasure. Do you have something else? Did you want to say something else, Sarah?
Well, I was just going to do what you're fixing to do, so you go ahead and do it.
Oh, I was just going to say we appreciate AV being here. I've known of you a long time, and like I say, we met back in, I guess it was probably 78 or 79. I don't remember. Had a good friend of mine that I think did some session stuff there with you, and Jim German. You may or may not remember that name, but he used to be really kind of the session, one of the players in the Houston area back in the 70s. He did a lot of stuff.
I got hot at one time, and we did almost everybody in Texas.
So it was
They had a band, they would come to us, and
Yeah.
even the Spanish market, we had it.
really wow.
Little Joe and we did Little Joe. And,
Oh, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
So we
Incredible
didn't
stuff.
say anything about that. Do you have any kind of count on how many projects you've done?
Jesus, no, not at all.
the answer to that one is a bunch, right? Is that what you?
Say it again, Donnie.
Kenny Dale.
Oh, I did Kenny Dale, too.
Oh,
I'm leaving Kenny
he just
out.
passed away not long
Louis
ago.
Sardick of the Year.
Yeah, wow.
We got him on Capitol Records.
Yeah,
And Kenny passed away here last
yeah. Was
year
it last year?
before last.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a
Man, he was good.
clown. Yeah.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
That is
called me
funny.
in the morning, every morning, and he was trying to write, And he said I'd call AV and I was singing this song and I wouldn't hear anything on the other end. I says, well, I guess that tells me how it was. But we
That is
became
good.
real good friends.
That is good.
And
Great.
we lost him a
Yeah.
couple years ago.
Absolutely. Well, once again, AV, we appreciate you being with us on the podcast. It's been a real pleasure.
Thanks for
And
asking.
you bet. Folks, we'll see y'all on the next one.
Adios.
Thanks for listening to The Big Show with Andy Gallo and Country Jim.
This has been a Unicap Media presentation.